Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome back. I'm Jeannie, and in today's video I'm going to be trying out a new decal company. I just thought this sheet was so fun and so cute that I wanted to give it a try. And so these decals are from Spirit Art Designs, which I've been seeing around, but this is my first time trying them. And I'll be using a full nail decal. Usually I just do single designs, so I'll show you my process for that. And then the dips I'll be using as my base are from Mani Boss Dip Powder. And so in my head, I tried to use colors inspired by the colors in the decal. It could turn out really well. It could be a hot mess. We'll find out, but hopefully this works out. The first dip I'm going to be using is Marshmallow Fluff, and that's going to go on my ring finger, and this is going to be the base for my Waterslide decal. And the reason I'm using this is because most Waterslide decals are printed on a transparent background, so you need a white or really light color as a background in order for your decal design to show up. So when possible, I always like to use white as my background just to make the decal pop a little bit more. So I'm going to be starting with my dipping process, but really quickly I want to show you, this is the Wide Steady Chaos from Chaos Concepts. So it's got the finger rests, and I usually use the, I think it's called regular size. So this is the wide, which was just a tad too wide for me. I do have really long fingers though, so I wasn't sure whether I'd prefer the wide or the regular. This is the regular, so you can kind of see the size difference. But I really like that the wide one is wider, so I decided I would try using it to flip it over and use it as a hand rest. And let me tell you, I'm really loving it that way, because it's kind of tilted. So while it may be a little bit too wide for my fingers, even though my fingers do fit on the finger rest, I prefer the other way around. So I'm kind of loving using this. So you may see this more often. But anyway, so I'm going to continue on. I'm going to do 2 dips of Marshmallow Fluff on my ring finger, just because I have a rubber base coat. So that's the pink you see on my nails that I have on my full coverage tips, because I wanted like a little bit of color when I wasn't dipping on top of the tips. So this is rubber base from West Coast Dips. This is number 5. This is my favorite rubber base color to use as like a kind of neutral type base. All that to say, I probably could have been fine with just 1 dip of Marshmallow Fluff on my ring finger, but because I have that pink base on, I wanted to cover it up a little bit more and really get that good white color. So that's why I ended up doing 2 dips of Marshmallow Fluff. This is one of my favorite white dip powders to use, because white dip powders can notoriously be difficult to work with. It's because there's so much pigment to get that white that they could be chalky or they could not be as opaque, which I do like a milky white, don't get me wrong. But when I want an opaque white, this is a really good one because it's so easy to use. It's not chalky at all, and it's a really great bright white. So this is what I used for my porcelain stamping nails, which I'll leave the video for that up above in the cards if you haven't seen that video, so you can see like the true bright whiteness of it. It's just a really good one. I'm gonna go ahead and cap this nail in clear after I did my 2 dips, just because the next colors I'm going to be working with are a bit darker and they're glitters as well. So I didn't want to risk either staining the white, because a matte nail is easy to pick up other pigments. So I didn't want to stain the white. And then when I moved to the glitters or in shimmers, I didn't want to contaminate the solid with any of those. So that's why I ended up capping in clear. So I applied my dip base. I'm dipping in clear. I'm going to wait till that fully dries, scrub off the excess powder, and then I'm going to go ahead and activate, which will help prevent that staining and contamination of any glitters or shimmers. Now that I have my Marshmallow Fluff nail activated, I'm going to move on to Son of a Beach, which is a light blue solid dip powder, and it is a glow as well. I wish Megan would do more glows, because let me tell you, this one glows bright. Like, low lighting, it starts glowing. I forgot it was a glow actually, and then it just started glowing when I went into like a darker room, but it wasn't pitch black and it was bright. So I love a good glow. You probably know that about me already, and this one is so good. Okay, so now I'm back and I'm moving on to my glitter. Sometimes I think it's just nice to stop talking, let you listen to the music, and watch me do my dipping process. At least personally for me, when I'm watching other nail tutorial videos, I like that mixture of talking and then just sitting back and watching. So I like to incorporate some just downtime where you can just watch. But anyway, so now I'm moving on to the glitter, which is I'm in love with a dipper. And this one is such a beautiful hot pink with smaller hex glitters. It's got like silver hex glitters, pink hex glitters, but they're all smaller, so it isn't chunky at all. And then it's also got like holographic silver. I don't know if they're foils or flakies, but it is just such a pretty mixture. But this one was the wild card for me. I thought it could make the mani like less cohesive, a little bit of a hot mess because my other colors were blues, or it could really elevate it. But I'm happy with the way it turned out. But this one was the one where I was like, I'm not sure if it'll work. I think it will, but I am definitely happy with the way it turned out. And this glitter is so beautiful, and I can't believe I haven't used it before. And even though it's not super chunky, before my dip base dries, I always like to make sure that I'm pressing down, cleaning up, like tucking things in if they're kind of half hanging off my nail, or removing it because I have this little chunk that was underneath my nail that I had to remove. But I like to make sure that everything is laying flat because I don't want to file through any of the glitters or foils or flakies or whatever these silver things are, but I don't want to file through them, so I want to make sure everything's laying flat. So I'm in love with the dipper is going to be both on my middle finger and thumb, and I'm going to do 2 dips each on that, even though like with one dip, it was pretty full coverage. Like I don't think I technically needed a second dip as far as like coverage, but I just wanted more of those glitters. I wanted a little more thickness, which is why I did the second dip, which if you've seen me before, you know that's my normal MO is doing 2 dips of whatever I'm using and then capping in clear. So this was no different. And if you haven't seen me before, welcome and thank you for being here. Let me know down below in the comments that you're new here and what you want to see from this channel. Do you like dip with me's? Do you like chatty videos, more tutorial styles? What types of tutorials do you like to see? Whether you like dips, gels, nail polish lacquer, like I'd like to know like what you like to see. I went ahead and capped the rest of my nails in clear, activated and filed and buffed off camera. So here's how the mani's looking. So now we're gonna get into the Waterslide decals, and I'm super excited to give these a try because they're just so fun and happy. But I am always nervous every time I try new decals because I don't know how easy they'll be to work with. And I like thinner decals. Some companies that I've tried are thicker, and I find them a little more difficult to work with when they're thicker. So we'll see how I like these. The only thing that makes me sad about these is because my nails are shorter, I lost a lot of that pretty design because it didn't fit my whole nail. So maybe next time I use these, I'll do longer tips just so I can get more of that design. So right now I took some scissors and I'm just cutting around the decal that I want to use. And this is wider, a lot wider than my actual nail. So I do end up cutting it a little bit crooked at the end, but that's okay. It doesn't really impact my application because it's wider than my nail anyway. So because I'm doing this on my dip pattern nails, I need something tacky for the Waterslide decal to adhere to, or else it won't stick. So I'm using my Mani Boss 2-in-1 gel base and top coat. So I'm going to apply a thin, even layer of that to my entire nail. And then once I've got that applied, I'm going to give my nails a cure for 30 seconds. And I don't want to do 60 seconds because this is a gel base and top coat. So if I did 60 seconds, it would cure fully dry and smooth and my decal wouldn't adhere to it. But if I do 30 seconds and treat it like a gel base, it'll still be tacky so I can apply my decal. So I've got that cured. I'm going to go ahead and put my decal in my little water dish. This is a resin dish from Resonating Crafts RVA. And so I'm going to let that soak for about 10-15 seconds. I wasn't really sure how long, but I found that this was enough time. And so once I've got that soaking for enough, I'm going to take my tweezers. I'm going to remove it from the water dish, place it on the paper towel, and I want to blot off the excess water. I like to use a jelly stamper to pick up my decal. I'm going to slowly remove that backing very carefully so I don't rip the decal because these are actually thinner, which I'm very glad about. And then I'm going to go ahead and figure out where I want to place it on the nail. And then once I've got that placed, I'm going to press down to transfer the decal from the stamper onto my nail. And then it'll stick to that tacky gel that I have on. And then what you'll see here is I have a lot of excess decal because it's bigger than my nail. So what I like to do is I like to take some acetone and a cleanup brush. And because this is a thinner decal, the acetone will kind of melt the decal, which helps remove that excess decal. The one thing you want to be careful of is you don't want to drag because you can rip the decal. So you just want to like pat around the decal to let it melt, but you don't want to put the brush to the decal with acetone and then drag because you'll probably take off some of the decal on your nail that you want to stay. So you can see kind of that, because it's so thin, you can see it kind of melting off. And I find that's the easiest way to remove any excess decal. And I also find, especially for a full Waterslide decal like this, for a full nail, that sometimes it doesn't lay completely flat because your nails aren't flat. So sometimes you may have like a little wrinkling around the edges. And what I like to do is very carefully, very lightly, very gently, and I cannot stress that enough, is just have just a tiny bit of acetone on your brush and gently tap down, like not press, gently press, or not press down, I said, gently tap down on those wrinkles to just kind of smooth them out, but don't drag, don't linger on it, and that'll kind of help smooth out those wrinkles if you find that you have too many wrinkles from the full decal. So I hope that helps a little bit with your Waterslide application when you're doing a full nail. This is what I found works best for me. But if you have any other tips that are different that works for you, let me know. I'd love to hear it and maybe I'll give it a try. Once I finish with my decal, I'm going to use my 2-in-1 gel base and top coat again, and I'm going to use that as a top coat for my nails. So when I'm using a gel top coat, I like to cap my free edge first, and that prevents a ledge. So I cap my free edge and then I do the surface of my nails. So I'm going to apply a thin, even layer of gel base and top coat to my nails. I'm going to flash cure that for about 15 seconds. I'll do my thumb and then I will cure all my nails together for a full 60 seconds. As always, I'm going to finish off my mani by rehydrating my cuticles with my Scales of Mermaid cuticle oil. This is in the scent Groovy, and I always like to match my cuticle oil to my manis, and as soon as I thought about what cuticle oil I wanted to use, I immediately thought about Groovy because I thought the theme of it fit really well with the decals. I know I'm strange, but I can't help it. I just think it's so fun to match them. My skin is always so dry before I go in with a mani because I want to make sure there aren't any excess oils, and I always feel super self-conscious about showing you my dry skin on video, but that's kind of real life. And so as soon as I'm finished with a mani, I always have to go straight in with a cuticle oil, and my skin always feels so much better and also looks so much better. And here we are with the finished look. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is kind of the color palette that I envisioned, but I wasn't sure whether it would be a hot mess or whether they would all actually work together. And I'm actually really happy with the way it turned out. I just wish I could have gotten more of that pretty decal on my nail, but they were just too short. But I hope this video was helpful. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you gave this video a thumbs up. It lets me know to continue creating content like this. And it also helps YouTube recommend me to others, which helps grow my channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I upload content every Monday and Thursday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.